This is a story, an important story, a story of trust and eventual betrayal. This is the story of the Tejanos. Before we delve into the expansive history of the Tejanos, let's get some background information on the Texas Revolution. It started when the Mexican government's ruler at the time, Santa Anna, felt the need to abuse his power, making the Texans feel threatened.
Fought in several battles through Mexican independence. First, he fought to not have Mexico independent. He fought on the side of the Spanish, think like in the U.S. Revolution. He was with the redcoats on there. And then at the end, he saw, the Mexicans are winning, I'm switching sides. So he was able to say, hey, I fought for the revolution on there, but this tells you a lot about the man. The man was all about himself.
Let's find out what a Tejano is.
Tejano is a person that's born in Texas that has been here since the 1650s time frame, during the New Spain, Tejas province era.
Many Tejanos supported the Texas Revolution because of tensions, no protection, slavery, and also because the Tejanos wanted at least some control.
Why would a Tejano want to fight in the Texas Revolution?
Well, the Tejano was fighting for his homeland. So this was already happening in 1813 when the Spanish were in control.
However, Santa Anna was extremely greedy. He and the Mexican government got scared and started making laws the Texans didn't like. And then, in 1835, they invaded Texas, which began the Texas Revolution. The Tejanos then helped by joining their armies, political leaders, couriers, and many more, each revolutionist serving a vital role. The Tejanos were people who fought in the Texas Revolution from 1835 to 1836. Their actions led to one of the most important decisions in all of Texas history, which was the signing of the Declaration of Independence. After all their efforts, they were promised land, but they were betrayed and discriminated against. They became indignant and protested it, proving the transition from trust to betrayal has a long-lasting impact. The Tejanos were recruited by Juan N. Seguin, a Tejano revolutionary and politician who helped establish the independence of Texas. He already served as an alcalde, or mayor in Spanish, in his hometown, and he recruited and led troops for the Texas Revolution.
But one of the things that made me feel very proud was when I read the part about Seguin being told, you're going to stay behind and look at keep a watch on the luggage. You're going to stay behind, and you all are going to stay behind and look at the care of the horses. And Captain Seguin said, we didn't come here to take care of horses. We don't come here to keep luggage. We came here to fight for our homeland.
He served as courier by transporting goods from the Alamo. He also led the only Tejano unit at the Battle of San Jacinto on April 21st, 1836, where Santa Anna was defeated and eventually died in 1871, and independence was eventually attained. But peace wouldn't last forever. Juan Seguin couldn't handle the rising tensions of both the Anglo and Tejano settlers for long. The conflicts with the Anglo settlers reached climax when they accused Juan Seguin of supporting a Mexican invasion of Texas in 1842. Vigilantes forced Seguin to resign from his second term as mayor and flee in exile to Mexico. Juan Seguin died on August 27, 1890. In 1858, Juan Seguin wrote in his book, I now find myself in the very land which in other times bestowed on me such bright and repeated evidences of trust and esteem, exposed to the attacks of scribblers and personal enemies who, to serve political purposes and endanger strife, falsify historical facts with which they are but imperfectly acquainted. The Texas revolutionists offered the Tejanos a deal: join their cause for independence from Spain and they would be offered land. Unfortunately, because the Tejanos were of Mexican descent, they felt marginalized and also discriminated against by the new Republic of Texas. The Tejanos contributed to many battles, including the Battle of San Jacinto and the Battle of the Alamo. And so, after the Battle of San Jacinto, the Tejanos expected to be welcomed back and given land, but instead they were treated harshly and lied to. Right after the revolution, the Tejanos were kicked off their own land and not welcomed back. After that, the Tejanos were discriminated against and forced from rural to urban areas where they could be watched, and some of their homes were even burned down. The result, the Tejanos were left with many physical and mental scars.
Why weren't the Tejanos treated fairly?
The Tejanos suffered the loss of land, loss of their territories. In a lot of cases it was because of the language. There was language situation. There's people that are going to be conducting themselves with a feeling of superiority, and because of their strength in numbers and power, they took possession of the property of those homeowners, landowners, and how? Well, they were accused of not paying their taxes. They were accused of not being part of the United States, or traitors, and they were eventually dispossessed of their properties.
The Tejanos tried their best to get some sort of respect, but it wasn't until the civil rights movement did they see some shift in recognition for them. Even then, their situation didn't improve by much, and they were still being mistreated. Overall, it isn't right that Tejanos did so much to fight for Texas just to be victimized and disfavored. But even after the terrible bias and also the betrayal, the Tejanos pursued and looked to the future. Those are extremely important qualities, and it shows how influential history is.
But as far as the fact are concerned, is that Tejanos were here. The Texians that came from the United States became here and fought alongside. We fought alongside to defend Texas and make it a free republic, and hopefully live in peace. But it didn't turn out that way until later on in life. But we're here, and that's what's important.